this is it guys, the 2016 all new Innova Crysta. As you would have seen in the intro, there is no car in the Indian market which defines repeat car buy behavior or brand loyalty like the Innova does in the Indian market. So as we review the car right now, let me tell you that the Innova Crysta is already selling more than 7,000 units month on month, and which definitely means that the Innova is still the hot favorite among the Indian consumers in the current scenario. So what we're going to do here is we're going to review the car in two segments. The first part is going to be the things which have changed compared to the old Innova, and the second part is going to be the things which haven't and the things which still remain the same. So starting off with the things which have changed. Well, firstly, this is the complete all new platform, and it is under the Toyota new global architecture platform, which is the TNGA. The same platform underpins the Fortuner and the Hilux as well. The next up, as you can definitely see evidently, is the exteriors. The exteriors are completely revamped, and I personally feel that this is the best looking Innova so far. Dimensionally it has changed too, with an increase of 200 mm in length and about 70 mm in width. Next up are the interiors, which definitely are one of the major selling points of the Innova. The interiors of the Crysta seems like it has skipped a couple of generations. Toyota engineers have paid special attention to the interiors mainly in two aspects. One is the comfort and the ergonomics as well. Comfort in the sense that they have made the cabin a much more pleasant place by putting in the brown leather seats, as you can see in the top variant, and things like ambient lighting. Now the seats tumble down with one touch. Though the middle passenger in the third row gets his own headrest, for the chauffeur driven, Toyota has gone ahead and given a lever which can be used to slide the front passenger seat all the way forward, thereby creating more back room. So next change is the major change, which is the engine. So the Toyota offers the Innova Crysta in three engine variants. Two of them are diesels and one is a petrol, which was recently offered just a few weeks back. Speaking of the diesels, these are absolutely new GD series engines, though they were initially imported from Thailand and now they are finally locally assembled out here in India. But the 2.8 litre which we are driving here feels stupendously quick for a Innova. And let me tell you, when they were actually going and designing the Innova Crysta for the Indian market, they had three things in mind: quality, dependability and reliability. But it seems after driving the 2.8 litre version, they had only one thing in mind, and that was power, power and more power. If I had to describe the engine in one word, I would call it eager. Though I may use the word dangerous if it is being driven by a cabby driver, but it definitely is very eager, this engine. Let me tell you that the torque is very easily accessible in this engine. But all the credit does not go to the engine only, because the turbocharger is new as well. 30% smaller than the earlier one, but it is much more powerful, and the way it delivers the torque, it is just absolutely amazing. The next big change is the gearbox, and that is a welcome change, because right now here is a 6-speed automatic. It is actually codenamed the AC60 gearbox, and this is the same company called as Aisin, which supplies the gearbox to the all new X1. And I believe that this is probably due to some because as we know that there is a collaboration between BMW and Toyota to develop a sports car and also the hybrid technologies. So this might be the outcome of one of that. Now coming to how it performs. Initially I felt it is a bit confused. It is too eager to upshift. But honestly, as you get to know it, as you are not in eco mode or more like in a normal or a power mode, it is feeling slightly better. It is feeling more comfortable. And I wouldn't call it eager to upshift then. But overall I feel that this new gearbox, being a torque converter, is very responsive. And the plus point is that the Tiptronic works decently well for a car this size and this kind of an engine in a utility vehicle. So that is a really good thing if you choose to go into the manual mode. So next big change is the wheel and the tire sizes. The older Innova was never available more than 15-inch wheel size, but the current, the base variants are available in 16s, and the top variant, which is this, is available in the 17-inch wheel size. Especially I wanted to mention the tire sizes also as a part of the change, because this one here is 215 55 R17. Now that is underplay by Toyota. I truly believe they could have at least put in a 225 55 R17 setup. That would have given it a much nicer look, as well as increase the sidewall by slightly more, and overall that is a much better size to have in a 17-inch setup. In fact, that is the 5 Series size. Sorry, I'm actually linking up both these cars which are not in this segment, but this is just to understand the tire sizes which I meant. So yes, the 205/65s on the 16s would definitely feel skinny for a larger bodied Innova, the Krista, and 215/55 R17s deserved that 225 setup. Not only for aesthetics, but also for the kind of power this 2.8 liter generates. It would have been really handy, that extra 10 mm. Okay, so the next change is the ground clearance. Currently in the Krista, the Toyota guys are saying it's at 167 mm compared to the old one, which was 176. So what they mean to say is the Krista is 9 mm lower than the older Innova. Well, I truly don't think so. So this definitely is a case of Toyota downplaying it for the saving of 3% excise duty for larger vehicles. We can understand that. So another area where the Innova Krista has changed over the earlier Innova is the features. This car is absolutely feature packed, and this was something really missing in the earlier Innova. This car is absolutely loaded to the brim. It is having features like cruise control, navigation, LED headlamps, cooled glove box, ambient lighting. Well, I could go on, but the list is too long. So yes, the thing is that this Krista scores heavily over the older generation Innova in the features department. Though I just complained in one department, which is the touchscreen infotainment system. Though it is a nice overall layout and a good feel, but I feel this system could have been slightly faster, and the touch sensitivity could have been slightly better than what it is. Specifically in today's world, this feels yesterday. The next big change of the Krista over the older Innova is in the safety department. Well, this top of the line variant here gets 7 airbags compared to the 2 airbags which were in the older Innova. So yeah, that is really a big improvement in the safety department. And then they are providing things like traction control system. It really adds to that safety attitude what Toyota wants to provide for the Indian consumer. That is a fantastic thing, and that's a thumbs up for Toyota out there. The next change, what we would like to point out, is the weight. So with all these changes, the weight has actually gone up by 200 kilograms. And I know normally when we have a new car, we always expect a weight saving to happen, and that is supposed to be the norm. But gaining weight isn't really a bad thing, especially in this case of the Toyota Innova Krista. This has actually improved the ride quality to quite a bit, and more than that, the structural rigidity of the car and the torsional rigidity of the car also seems much better than the older one. So now, as we mentioned, all the changes of the new Innova Krista over the older generation Innova. So now I think it's time to actually start mentioning all the things which haven't changed. And to start with, I would like to mention the steering wheel. The steering system on the Innova Krista remains a hydraulic one, and that is what I like. I specifically like this because they have actually maintained that old school feel about it, and that is how it should be in a body-on-frame MPV, and that is fantastic, I think. And many people might complain that why haven't they gone electric, the steering is too hard. The simple answer to that is that this steering is shared with the Hilux and the Fortuner as well. Till those steering systems in the Hilux and the Fortuner don't go electric, don't really expect the Innova steering to go electric. Next, one thing which has remained same, just like the older Innova, is the fuel tank. It is still a 55-litre fuel tank, and I believe that is somewhere Toyota needed to improve. This being a long-distance highway cruiser, people mover, this needed at least a 65-litre fuel tank, just like the XUV 500. That is a competition to the Innova. So probably they've actually missed a chance to increase the fuel tank capacity, and that would have really been adding to the performance strengths of the Innova. Likewise, surprisingly, the boot capacity hasn't really gone up. Dimensionally, from the exteriors, the car looks big. Seats feel larger, more comfortable. The cabins feels slightly more airier than the older generation, but the boot capacity remains same. and that is not much of a complaint, but it's just a point. Next up, what has remained same is the service interval, which is disappointing actually, because 5,000 kilometers is too short a service interval for something like a Innova. Again, the long distance hauler, people mover tag comes into picture, because 5,000 kilometers. Supposing a cabbie driver can do it in maybe under a month easily. So that doesn't mean he'll go to service the car every month. So they could have at least kept it as 10,000 kilometers. So another thing which remains the same is the location of the spare wheel. We still have to use this goddamn Tommy and shove it right here. And with the help of this, we have to get the spare wheel down. Well, this is a much tedious process. And I really believe that Toyota needs to have or show some innovation here to actually simplify this methodology. Right, so as we conclude things on the Innova Crysta, it is time to talk about the pricing as well. The Crysta is actually priced from 14 to 21 lakh ex-showroom, and this pricing is spread across more than 15 variants. Yeah, 15 variants. Many would not be actually convinced with the pricing, considering people may think that it is much more heavily priced compared to the older Innova. But hey, look at the product. It is so much more of an Innova than what it used to be in the Indian market. And there are very few cars in the Indian market like the Innova which command this kind of pricing. I, being a current Fortuner owner and a prospective future all-new Fortuner buyer, I would really honestly be saying that I'm slightly jealous of the Innova Crysta right now. And on that note, thanks for watching.